Are you struggling for consistency in your sim racing? Does your iRating look like a roller coaster? If so, we have good news for you. The way to get more consistent is to first understand what you're doing differently than the professionals. And VRS is the answer. With our competitive subscription, you will have the telemetry, setups, tutorials, and everything else you need to fully analyze your driving. Our data packs and the ability to compare your driving with the best in the world will show you exactly where to adjust your inputs, change your driving line, and shave seconds off of your lap times. And our powerful and precise Direct Force Pro wheelbase and precision pedals are being used by some of the world's best drivers. All these champions agree that VRS hardware is not just the best on the market, it's also priced well below the competition. So if you're looking to upgrade to direct drive and the best pedals in sim racing, VRS is your answer. If you want to get better, get faster, and make it happen sooner rather than later, you owe it to yourself to find out why so many people are switching to VRS. You'll be so glad that you did. Visit www.virtualracingschool.com and learn why the best use VRS.
Ricmotech, high-performance sim racing equipment. There's only one place to go, Ricmotech.com.
And welcome everybody to season number 12. It is the opening round of the Extreme Motorsports Ricmotech World Challenge, where some of the best virtual GTP, LMP2, and GT3 racers will do battle here on Apex Racing TV. I'm Greg Ginsburg, and filling in tonight for Larry Lefty McLeod is my old Ray Esports teammate Avery McDonald, and of course, let's not forget Jonathan Grabowski, giving you all the best views of tonight's action. So as we start a new season here of the World Challenge, we got lots of new storylines. We've got Bailey Petrowski, who was our season 11 GT3 champ. He's moving back to the GTP ranks where he won it all in season 10. Can he do it again this season? Can Josh Chinsky repeat his dominant season in LMP2? And with so many GT3 racers moving to a new chassis for a new season, and you're going to see a number of racers in that new Acura NSX GT3 race car, is there any one driver or team that will stand out early on here, especially as they take the bumps of Sebring International Raceway? Good evening, Avery. Happy New Year's, and long time no see.
Oh, Happy New Year to you, man. I'm so glad to be here. I know I've been watching this series every Monday night for a long time, and when I got the call up for Larry McLeod, it's always good to have another MC in the room.
That's right.
I mean, how do I turn that down? You know, I mean, it's another beautiful Monday night and one of my favorite tracks, and it should be a fun one, and it's always a great season. Glad to open it up.
Absolutely, absolutely, and of course we'll see you down at another Central or Northern Florida track in just a few weeks as you're heading out to Daytona for the 24 hours, your yearly pilgrimage. But right now, wow, running a little bit wide there in his Acura ARX-06 Ben Rose. We've got our drivers heading out for qualifying now, Avery. We're about 8 minutes into this 15-minute session. As we always do here in the World Challenge, we give our racers 4 opportunities, 4 flying laps in order to set the grid for this evening's tonight. Probably not a 25-minute, that would be great. A 75-minute run to the checkered flag. And we've got our 3 different classes. We've got our GTP class. We've got the LMP2s as well as GT3. And let me tell you how to pick them out. Pretty easy to pick out the GT3 racers, but our LMP2 and GTP racers, the way you'll pick them out, the GTP racers, they have the black windshield banners on their cars. They've got the black mirrors and number boards on the sides of their cars as well, much like good old Bobby Childs, who we're watching here in not in a BMW, but in a Ferrari, as they now make their, as Bobby puts in his 4th and final flying lap. In LMP2, you'll find our racers have blue mirrors, blue number boards, blue windshield banners on their cars. And our GT3 racers, again, pretty easy to pick out the GT cars. They will have red number boards, red mirrors, windshield banners, and plates on their wings, like Travis Schwenke here in the Acura NSX, that entire Orion Racing team now moving from the Corvettes that they raced last season to the Acuras. And Avery, we see a number of new racers for the Orion Racing team, actually a number of new faces in general, lots of rookies to the World Challenge this season.
Yeah, they brought a lot of great drivers in this season. It's another full roster. I know Jeff and the boys at XMS are excited to have another great roster. And this is one of the things you come here to, XMS. It's high quality racing, and that's what brings in these new people. And a lot of times every season there's only a few openings, so it's always good to see some new drivers fill those slots.
Yeah, indeed. And we're seeing now, and I don't think he's out on track, but our fastest driver in practice before we went on the air today, Akira Iwata, joining us all the way from Japan, one of those new racers on the Orion Racing team. We also have John Kroom, who is joining us newly on the Rockefeller Racing team. So welcome to him, and he will be racing also in an Acura this season. And we also have Sam Nasheed, who is racing for Rennsport along with Lucas Stragota. It is his rookie season. He joins us from New York State, so good to see him here as well. And wonderful to see this. Let's do this, Avery. We've got just about 4.5 minutes left to go in qualifying. We have one of our racers from D2D Sim Racing, Chris Thorman, joining us. He is racing the number 296, the number 60 Ferrari 296 GT3 machine, as I believe they've moved over from a new chassis. Let's hear from Chris.
Hey, Chris Thorman, Avery here in the booth. How you been tonight?
I'm okay. Just got to try to survive tonight.
Yeah, you made a manufacturer change going into this season, and I really like the move. I think the Ferrari is a fun car to drive. I have a little more pace in it than any other car. How's the Ferrari feeling for you?
It feels better than it did the last time I drove it. We drove it before, and I was always scared of it. I was just scared it wanted to turn around on me all the time, but I don't seem to have that problem right now.
Yeah, I had the same issue too, and I kind of, drove the Porsche for a little while, switched to the Ferrari, and I was like, man, this must have been a completely different car. So it's good to see you back out here for, another round. What are you looking forward to at Sebring, and especially the rest of the season?
Well, with the way my seasons went last year, right now I'm just hoping to survive and somewhere be in the top 10.
That's always a good goal. Before we let you go, anybody like to give a shout out to?
just, I'm not going to try to say it. Bobby wants me to say it. We have a new sponsor, Invictus, and we have a new team name, but I can't pronounce it. So
that makes three of us.
Yeah, I was looking at it. And I told Greg and I told Jonathan, I was like, guys, don't even make me try, because English was not my strong suit. And I have a hard time pronouncing words. They say sound it out. Well, I fumble it every time. So
he tried to give me lessons earlier, but I can't do it.
It's Invictus Tamaria Corse. So
there you go.
All right.
Well, thank you. Best of luck to you, Chris. Well, we look forward to watching you tonight and the rest of the season.
Thank you, sirs. Thank you for broadcasting us. Y'all do great.
All right, everybody. There you go. That is Chris Thorman from D2D Sim Racing, or now Invictus Tamario Corsa. Thank you for joining us here this evening. I'm sure, Avery, between you and I, we probably don't have enough fingers and toes to count the number of times we're going to mess that up.
I can only count to 4, so I mean, so I don't know if we're going to be able to get to do that.
My broadcast from the real Sebring International Raceway this past weekend, I think I said that I have fewer than 20 fingers and toes, and everybody looked at me really funny when I said that. So I didn't think I'd be able to count it out. We'll talk about some more of the rookies that we have, as well as I think now all of our racers have completed, well, almost all of our racers have completed their flying laps. We have Chuck Labano on course right now. Chuck is one of 3 racers, includes Bruno Bellany and John Casey, all in GT3, that have not set a lap time yet. It is so difficult here at Sebring, as you know, Avery. 3 3/4 miles, 17 turns. Lots and lots of pockmarked and we'll call it pockmarked concrete around here that just tosses cars around.
Oh yeah, lots of opportunities to go off track, and if you're new to iRacing, you're looking at, if you go off track, that eliminates your time. So that's why I'm always starting in the back, because I'm always hitting the grass. So that you got to be careful when you're qualifying here.
That indeed, that is the case. And right as the qualifying ended, Chuck Labano did not get his final lap in, and so he's going to start towards the very rear of a 32 car GT3 field. All right, so let's run down the starting order here as we have our racers taking to the track for their 75-minute race, round number 1. Let's start off with GTP, where we have Jordan Butler from DNA Motorsports in his number 72 Acura. He was our fastest driver in testing during the week. He is your pole sitter tonight. Ben Rose, also from DNA, also in an Acura ARX-06. He will be starting on the outside of the front row. Then we've got Bailey Petrowski. He was your season 11 GT3 champion. He was your season 10 GTP champion. He is in one of the new Ferrari 499Ps. He will start third with Dave Meneno. With Ryan Reisman. Oh, you know what? We've got some of these mixed up. I think Dave Meneno starting to his right, and he will start fourth for SRT Esport. Then we've got Ryan Reisman from DNA, Dalton Fredericks from HSR, Charlie Hosea from Rockefeller Racing starting 7th in the number 100 machine. And then we've got Bobby Childs from Invictus Temeraria Corsa, or D2D Sim Racing, which is I think how Avery and I are probably going to have to refer to it tonight. Tanner Dibble from DNA starting in 9th. We've got Jim Pfeiffer 10th, so he'll be on the outside of row number 5. Jake Zito and Aaron Beaver making up the next row. Then we've got Josh Chinsky. He is your pole sitter in LMP2 in his Dallara with Caleb Lehman starting next to him. We've got Trevor Anderson, another new racer along with us. Trevor is racing for HSR Phantom Racing. Then we've got Chase West and Kyle Strikers, Josh Vidal, and Marlon Jones. Now let's take a look at the GTP racers as they are starting their pace lap. And although they're all gridded up together there on the front straight, Avery, of course, the 3 classes, they will separate out and there'll be a pretty good gap between each one of our 3 different classes when they come to take the green. Akira Iwata, who we mentioned a little bit earlier, driving the number 53 Acura from Orion Racing. He is your pole sitter, with Mike Dam starting to his right. Then we've got Leo Dragota from Orion, who will be starting in 3rd. Brian Bennett from Sector 5. Bennett driving a Mercedes AMG GT3. He'll start 4th. Then next we have Leo Dragota driving the number 118 car, and he will start 4th with Milan Harris. He'll start 4th with Milan Harris starting in 5th. Then we've got Travis Schwenke and Alex Brown from Eagle Beavers, then Taj Edwards from Orion with Ilya Speaker, Stacy Bertrand and Chris Thorman, Keith Stein and Jeff Jacobs, Jennifer McDonald, John Sterling, then we've got John Kroom, and next after John Kroom, that will be Lucas Dragota from Dragon Sport Racing, Filippo Barbari from Speed Lab, and I think we had a couple of folks in the chat for cheering on Speed Lab. Adam Ballard in the number, starting in 39th position with Dan Carrillo next to him. Then David Payton and Chad Sebring, Sam Nashid and Stephen May, Jenkins and Wedderburn, Ruddick and David Klimovich. And hello to the Klim Club in the chat here. And then as we work our way through, I believe we've got Russ Ruddick and Greg Brockway, Chuck Labano and John Casey. Josh Chinsky doesn't appear to have taken the grid, which is very surprising that I don't see him in his LMP2 car. And then we've got Bruno Belny in the GTP Porsche that did not take the grid.
Yeah, Belny looks like he's not even in the room, and yeah, Chinsky starting from the pits or maybe some technical errors, but yeah, that's huge because he's one of the favorites to win the whole championship. So it's going to be a very tough for him to if he's starting from the pits, because then you have traffic right away.
Indeed, here as we have on board, as we many times do, Ryan Reisman. Looks like he's he doesn't have the game face on yet, Avery, but typically mid-race, we never see him blink.
Oh yeah, I like watching Ryan on Twitch because he's a cool dude. So I love his setup. He's got some cool things. So it's always cool when the drivers get the webcams going. Because I had mine on Thursday when I was wearing my driver's suit. So it's always good to see some cool to see what they look like when they're racing.
Indeed. All right, and I know we had some issues a couple moments ago when we were running down the starting grid with a couple of drivers showing up as being in LMP2 versus GTP, and I think it was Dave Meneno and Charlie Hosea in particular. We should have that squared away when we bring up the timing tower in just a few moments. As we've got our front row of Ben Rose and Jordan Butler coming through the Sunset Bend, turn 17 onto the front straight, and the green flag is in the air, Avery, and they are making their way down to turn 1 for the very first time. And DNA Motorsports, as they always do, bringing out the Florida livery. We've got the alligators and I think some other local animals on the sides of their cars. Looks like a good portion of that field as our LMP2 racers now take the green, come down into turn 1 for the first time, led by Aaron Beaver, Caleb Lehman there with Trevor Anderson. And Avery, it looks like Ben Rose, who is our pole sitter, or probably not our pole sitter, but he started on the front row, has fallen off the track coming through Big Bend, and he's going to rejoin towards the back of the GTP field as our GT3 racers now take the green. Mike Dam from Orion going down the inside. He's got Brian Bennett in that Mercedes, makes a quick lunge to the inside. He's going to move into second position as Leo Dragota and his teammate Travis Schwenke try to fight back.
Yeah, not good there for Ben Rose. He's always one of the fastest drivers, but we're going to take a look at the tape here and let's see.
And was there any contact? I guess is the big question between the teammates, and there might have been there, Avery.
Yeah,
there between. I think that might have been. I think it looked like Meneno might have gotten together with Ben Rose, but Ben Rose now, he's got a long way to work back up through the field as he's now sitting back in a very distant 13th position.
Yeah, a long ways to go for Ben Rose, but at least for him, the car doesn't look too damaged. It's early in the race, so expect him he's going to come and probably pit as early as he can in the pit window. What I was looking at with these GTP cars, you're pretty much almost taking a full tank, but at least the car is clean. That's the main thing.
Yeah, indeed. As a matter of fact, we expect all of our drivers tonight to have to take a pit stop, but the pit windows are very, very slim, very short for all three classes. The GTP cars can probably make it about 23 laps. Their race should be about 44 laps. In LMP2, they can make it about 20 to 21 laps, and it is a 41 lap race for them most likely. And in GT3, it will be somewhere along the lines of 23 laps that they can make on the pit window, and their race will be somewhere around 20 laps or thereabouts.
Yeah, definitely. When you come to Sebring, you look at the lap times, like, oh, we're only 20 laps, but it's a treacherous 20 laps. I mean, if you hit the bumps just so wrong, you're having a bad day. So we'll just see what these cars do. But Bennett there making a move on the outside, and a little contact. But
wow, big contact there was Leo Dragota in the Acura NSX. He runs off into the tire wall driver's right. He does now continue, but Avery, he's going to pick things back up now as he falls back into 8th position. Let's take a quick look, see what happened.
Yeah, just tight with Dragota and Bennett there, just coming out of the corner. It's hard side by side. Someone's got to give.
Yeah, and it looked like the car to the outside definitely had to give. Oh, and now running wide, Leo Dragota continues to have problems as he went down into the hairpin at turn 7 as we jump over to our GTP battles here. This is Bobby Childs along with Aaron Beaver. They are currently running 8th and 9th. Again, Bobby and all of the D2D are now Invicta teammates moving over to these Ferrari 499s away from the BMWs that they had been running previously.
Yeah, I like it when someone makes a manufacturer change. It means you're just trying something different, because if you're just running the same car and you're maybe not getting the same results and you keep doing it all over again, it's kind of the definition of insanity. So I do like it when they make that changes, because I've done it before and it's helped out and sometimes hurt. But man, really close racing here in these GT3 class.
Yeah, as we see the GT3 racers coming through Jean de Bihan and into the Le Mans curve onto the Ullman straight, onto the long back straight here at Sebring. Again, a lap 3 3/4 miles. As you were saying, Avery, that the laps here, they are so jarring behind the wheel for these racers, of course, with the force feedback wheelbases that they're using and all the concrete. And you'll be able to see here, especially as drivers maybe enter the sunset bend early and then push wide, as we have somebody pushing wide in one of the Mustangs off into the wall and just now gathering that car back up. I mean, it is a workout here at Sebring. A lot of the track, including the sunset bend, including the Ullman straight, using the same concrete that was laid down for when this track was an Army airfield training facility for B-17 and B-24 Liberator pilots. And they've been racing here since 1950, actually New Year's Eve 1950, or was it New Year's Day 1951, something along those lines. But that concrete has been around pretty much ever since.
Yeah, give or take a day or two, we're good on the.
Right.
That's like it was earlier today. It was like give or take an hour, they'll be here. So
yeah, if you're celebrating New Year's, does it really matter if it's New Year's Eve or New Year's Day?
It matters for me. My wife's birthday is New Year's Eve, so that's not even like a holiday thing. So.
Congratulations and happy birthday to your wife. That's another big thing. So Avery and I used to work for a number of years for the Ray Esports Racing League here on Apex Racing TV, and the first thing he said to me, he said, so much has changed. I'm still going to Daytona, but I'm married now. And it's like, oh my gosh, it's been a while. It's been what, about three years since we've called a race together.
Yeah, 3 or so years, but honestly, it's good to be here. Like I said earlier, it's always good to have another MC in the room. So If you all like Larry better, he'll be back next week. But I appreciate being here.
Well, Larry's down in Mexico on business. You know, he may not be able to make it back across the border. You never know.
Right.
All right, as we jump on board with our top 5 racers, we were just watching Taj Edwards in the number 42 Acura NSX, and of course, anytime I see an Acura NSX with a 42, I think of PD Cunningham from Real Time Racing. He is Taj right now running 5th in class, just behind teammate Travis Schwenke. And I don't know what the story was there, Avery, because as they were coming down the back straight, we did have Taj Edwards moving the car back and forth quickly from side to side, flashing the lights. I can't imagine he was trying to get Schwenke's attention. He must have been trying to figure out if something just ain't right there.
Yeah, I know sometimes if I'm racing with a teammate behind him, I just flash him I'm not trying to mess him up. Just say, hey, hello, how are you doing? Does this button work? So, but no, just probably having fun. Now the prototypes are finally getting to GT3 traffic. Look at Ryan Reisman there. You got to be so smart when you're going around the traffic in all classes. So especially when you run with those GTPs. See, now a lot of times they'll flash the lights to let them know, hey, I'm coming. So good pass by Ryan there.
Yeah, and you know, especially here as we have somewhere along the lines of, let's see, we've got, I think, 11 GTP cars. We've got 9 LMP2 cars, and then, 10 LMP2 cars, pardon me, and then over 30 GT3 cars. You know, once you add them all up, if you're in GT3, you know, you may not see until the last moment when, you know, even in your relative screen, when some of these faster GTP cars are coming up, because they're going and splitting the 5 GT3 cars behind you. It's got to be very, very difficult, and you've got to be ready with, especially some sections of this track, you know, over by Cunningham at turn 10, actually coming out of the hairpin at turn 7, where the track does move quickly from left side to right side, left turn to right turn. That as hectic as this track is right now, and you can see it here coming out of Sunset, you just never know when you're going to have a faster car coming up on you.
Yeah, when you're on the Ullman Straight, it looks like on the interstate highway system, just all these cars going flying by each other. But what I was noticing earlier, Greg, is once these prototypes catch up, it's about like in about a couple more laps, they're probably gonna be in some more traffic. So it's where you can, you know, win or lose a race. You know, I've been to Rolex many years, and you see drivers lose a race because of either not being patient or just you get caught up in an incident. So you gotta be very careful when you're making these passes.
Yeah, absolutely, and at the speeds that the GTP cars are going in comparison to the compared to the GT3 cars, or even those LMP2 machines, slightly slower prototypes in comparison to the GT3. And there's an example right there, actually, Avery, just coming into the hairpin, where I think Dan Carrillo in his Acura GT3 car, Adam Ballard and Jim Pfeiffer all coming together. Let's take a look at this as we were watching this combination coming all the way through Big Bend, and there you go. There's the Ferrari, I believe. Yeah, I think that was that Pfeiffer that might have gotten into the back of Carrillo.
Yeah, it looked like it might have been Pfeiffer, but yeah, just pretty much unscathed, a little bit of damage, but it'll be all right. But that's just, you never know when, you know, chain reaction, you know, you get to a corner you're expecting to be a little bit faster at, and you're kind of going a lot slower than normal. You could, you know, run into somebody. So just got to be very careful, especially as you come through a Sunset. And I think the hardest turn here is going through the Le Mans curve. So, I mean, this is, it's a tough track. I mean, if you can make it without spinning, you're doing a good job.
Yeah, and you know, interestingly enough, and I had never really thought about this before. Wow, nice fight coming on right now. This is Marlon Jones and Kyle Strikers, both obviously in the LMP2 Dolores, as they are Nosedale coming out of the Le Mans curve. We're coming out of turn 16 and heading on to the Ullman Straight. Nice move down the inside. Let's see if Strikers can make this pass work. and Strikers does go by, and again you can see the two wildly different lines through the Sunset Bend. If you enter in early and close to the wall, it pushes you wide, and you get the bumpiness at the end of the corner. If you go in wide and then cut down, you get the bumpiness at the beginning of the corner. That you just you can't always escape it there. But a nice fight going on. That is for, I believe, we've got it up there. That is for 6th in 6th and 7th. Now 5th, because they were able to get by Anderson there, as Anderson had some issues over at turn 3, as those two racers now move up through the field.
We see Chinsky's through the lap traffic, or the lap traffic, the GT3 traffic. So he's up in 8th, 7.8 seconds back from 7th. I'm curious to see how far he's going to be able to make it up on this leaderboard, but good to see him back out on the track.
Stubby is in the chat as when we were watching that little coming together with Pfeiffer and Corrido over at the hairpin. He says, "Oh wow! Usually when there's smoke, there's Bobby." Oh, the jokes write themselves, and I'm not the one writing them, which is good. All right, here come some of our DNA Motorsports racers here in LMP, in GTP. That is Ryan Reisman, Ben Rose, and I believe Tanner Dibble is the 3rd car in line. And you can tell the difference there. Dibble is in the Porsche with the very different headlight and grille setup than the two Acuras ahead of Reisman and Rose.
Yeah, just I like this DNA cars always look good. The other one that's looking good is the one out in front. Is that Jordan Butler? He is showing the way, but Bailey Piotrowski, who's always fast, 2.4 seconds back. So you just got to find a little bit of pace. And the big thing if you're Butler, don't make a mistake. Try to be perfect. It's hard to be perfect, but at least you got to try. So just their lap times are super close. So it's going to be a sprint.
Yeah, indeed. And so you can see here is as director Jonathan throws up the deltas over the last couple of laps, 61 thousandths of a second difference between Butler and Petrowski on the last lap. A couple of laps earlier, 23 1,000ths of a second, 21 1,000th, but he gave up 2 seconds, and I think that was probably owing to traffic there on the 5th and 6th laps of the race, as we did just get word of a penalty coming down from race control, and I think it was for that contact that we had over at turn 7, as we go on board with Spaceman Chuck Labano. Ooh. Oh, just to the right of Chuck was a big coming together there on the Flying Fortress straight coming out of 13. We had the 2 cars run off, and I think that was Adam Ballard and once again Dan Corrido.
Yeah, rough luck.
Let's take a look here as they come into 13. Corrido in the blue NSX and Ballard in the Rockefeller Racing Corvette. And they get together and head to the Armco.
Yeah, just tight racing when you're exiting the corner here at Sebring. If you're, not too careful, you're gonna run into somebody. So, unlucky for those guys, but the race still goes on. Just under an hour to go.
All right, getting word from race control that the number 7 car, that is Avon Dorsey, will be serving a drive-through penalty for contact with another car. So we'll probably see him coming down the pit lane here soon enough to serve that penalty. We'll see if this is it right here. Supposedly it was another prototype that he got together with. Let's take a look. Oh, well, yeah, that would probably be the incident. And from the looks of it, Avery, I think he had contact with the GT3 car there before the 2 prototypes ever got into one another.
Yeah, it looks like he had a little help there, but just unfortunate circumstance. I know from doing the Roar this last week on Apex Racing TV, I was in the GT3. I had to be careful when the prototype was coming and passing me because their braking point was a little bit earlier than what I was. So you got to be very cautious when they're passing you because you still got to brake a little early. You don't want to run into them. So that's one thing to keep an eye on when you're in that GT3 class.
All right, we're on board right now. We're not on board, but we're watching our first and second place racers in GT3. Mike Dam, driver of the number 93 Orion Acura. Akira Iwata, rookie to the season, coming here from Japan in his Orion Racing GT3 Acura, the number 53 machine. And looks, Avery, as though, there is no ban on racing here between the teammates, as Iwata definitely taking a look to the inside on Dam.
Yeah, Iwata ain't here to play. He's here to come and try to get this win. So just keeping that pressure on Dam, very important, just to keep the pressure. You don't always have to try to make the pass. Just try to maybe force them to make a mistake. So really good to see a new driver this series being very competitive.
Yeah, indeed. All right, so we do have Avon Dorsey. We mentioned the penalty he received. He is heading to the pit lane now to serve that. We just had another one come up, and I believe it was the 29 of Ballard who is getting a drive-through penalty assigned to him as well. Ballard driving GT3 Chevy Corvette, so we'll likely see him take to the pit lane as well. And we'll keep you updated on other penalties that may come through as we jump now back to this battle in GTP with Jake Zito and Aaron Beaver. Beaver in the Ferrari and the number 97 machine, the yellow Ferrari, and then Zito in the Porsche directly behind. And with that change there, move Aaron Beaver now up into 8th position.
Yeah, good run for Beaver, moving up 4 spots from where he started. I think it's 2, but yeah, doing a really good job. And I tell you what, all these prototypes did a great job. LMP2s are killing it, and these GT3s they're putting on a heck of an effort because this is so tough, Greg. I mean, not only is it, it's a 75-minute race, so it's a sprint race, but it's also it's a mini endurance race. You got to keep the car together, and you never know when that bump's going to happen or the car in front of you has an issue. So they're just doing a really good job this early in the race because, once you make that pit stop, get that, 4 fresh tires and fill it up with fuel, that's when it's on, and that's when you're going to really start making some moves. So these drivers are just trying to find out where they're better at and where other drivers around them maybe are a little bit weaker.
All right, so we were watching a little bit earlier the 2 front-running Orion Racing Acuras there of Dam and Iwata. This is now the battle for 3rd place in GT3. We've got Brian Bennett from Sector 5 Racing driving the number 71 Mercedes-AMG GT3. Behind him, we have Travis Schwenke and Taj Edwards, both from Orion, both in those Acura NSXs, and now joining the party just a little bit further back in the Eagle Beaver number 67 Ford Mustang. That is Alex Brown, the Canadian. And he's only about 5 car lengths back. He did have the prototype car there, as you can see, that's kind of trying to very quickly get through this GT3 traffic without impacting their race all that much. Actually, he's been doing a pretty good job of slotting in, not taking apexes away from the other drivers, and not impacting those GT3 races. But good fight here as we've got 4 racers now battling it out for 3rd position in GT3.
Yeah, you can kind of put them under a large tarp right now for that top final spot on the podium. But yeah, I think that's one thing to, like you made a good point. When you're a prototype or a GT3, if you give the other class more room, people are going to remember that when you're coming through. So just always, I think, just being courteous about those situations, because you might be in a race and they're coming through and hey, the last 3 times he's lapped me, gave me a lot of room. So it's always one thing to be very courteous when you're in both or any of the 3 classes.
Yeah, and that was, I think, some very gentlemanly racing there through the back half of the course. Again, in what is one of the more difficult sections of the track to do anything other than side-by-side racing. There is the drivers shift from left to right to left to right from turn 10 all the way over towards turn 13. All right, and as we come in and down, they are coming up on some slower Eagle Beaver traffic here as we are looking at, let's see who that, as we see the two Mustangs together. Yeah, I think that is Sterling in the other, John Sterling in the number 267 Ford Mustang. As Adam Ballard coming in now, that should be to serve the drive-through penalty that we discussed earlier for that Rockefeller Racing Corvette.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Get that drive-through penalty. Just come back out, do the best you can, and get some good clean laps in. As you see, Jeff Jacobs put on a good run here in that Ford Mustang, trying to defend John Kroom, and Kroom makes a nice pass to pass Jacobs for the 15th position. So good battles all the way throughout the field here in the Ricmotech World Challenge.
Yeah, and we talked about the big changes with so many racers going to different chassis, where Jeff had been racing the AMG GT3 Mercedes for quite some time here in the World Challenge. He's now moving over to the Mustang, and he has that very beautiful liveried SCCA Foundation livery, where Jeff is part of the executive committee on the SCCA Foundation. And Avery, this might be a great time to mention that tonight's race stewards are provided by the SCCA Foundation, and they provide funding for the SCCA Academy, training the next generation of race workers and volunteers that make real-life road racing events possible. Visit sccafoundation.org for more information.
Yeah, absolutely. Everybody plays a part. And, wow, really good tight racing there. But yeah, everybody makes a part. I got a friend that's a flagger for the SCCA, so just trying to do his part to help provide a good place to race and nice and safe. So that's one thing that XMS does a really good job at.
Yeah, they certainly do, and we've got a great team. Actually, you're part of that great team of XMS when you're not here kicking Larry McLeod out of a job. Assistant schedule coordinator.
Didn't do so much this last year, but the last couple seasons before, I helped out with Kevin and helped him get a schedule because he had a lot going on. So I was just trying to help out, and I'm not trying to pick tracks for anybody, just trying to ones that are going to work out for the broadcast. And if they don't work, they usually blame somebody else.
Avery, when they end up at Summit Point Raceway next season, I'll know it was you doing God's work. All right, so
I'll make a call.
Thank you. All right, Aaron Beaver now on the pit lane in the number 97 Ferrari, and he is in his pit stall, taking on some fuel a little bit early here. But given how far these cars can go on a fuel load, he may have to make another stop. And we've got a new leader, Avery. Well, we did. Let's let them come out of 16 first and onto the Ullman Straight, because for a very short period of time, Akira Iwata has gotten by his teammate Mike Dam, has just now repassed as they are working side by side, coming down the Ullman Straight, going into the Sunset Bend to complete lap number 12. And when they do, Akira Akata, he should be picking up a point for leading a lap here in the World Challenge.
Oh yeah, what a pass. And just was being patient. We're 25 minutes into the race, and made that pass on Mike Dam. So now he's gonna have to just try to pull away and make it the least amount of mistakes as possible. But really good pass to get that bonus point, because every point is valuable.
Yeah, indeed. So there are a number of different ways that drivers can pick up points here this season. They also pick up points for leading a lap, for being the top qualifier, essentially being the pole sitter, as well. And you also can pick up bonus points for putting in time during the midweek practice sessions as well. But let's jump over now to this battle. This is the battle for fourth position with Dalton Fredericks and Ben Rose. Fredericks in the number 20 Porsche. Directly behind, we've got the Acura of Ben Rose. Remember, Avery, that Rose had that incident on lap 1 over at turn 3, got the hip check and fell all the way back into 10th position. So he's starting to work his way back up, and after starting on the front row.
Yeah, good run for him. Last season's champ. So he wants to go back to back, and he had a really rough start, but moves up to that 5th spot, and there's still. I mean, he could, he can make it as far as he can. He's just going to give everything he's got. Has to be, smart about his moves, but trying to get 4th here from Fredericks, and we look back and just see how close this racing is.
Yeah, indeed. And as they come through Sunset Bend, not able to do much with it. Here he takes a quick look down to the inside going into turn 1, and Fredericks goes to cover as they come to the apex. Now we've got that little bend going into turn 3, late apex at 3 as they come through the little S's here, and then into Big Bend, which is turn number 6. That will bring you down to the hairpin, and that section of track, unless you're ready to outbrake and throw a car underneath going into turn 3, a little bit difficult to make a pass until you get here to the heavy braking zone at the hairpin at turn 7. Of course, this hairpin reprofiled a couple of years ago, used to go quite a bit deeper down towards the billboards that we saw there in the background. The problem is that if you get the braking wrong, you end up going through a fence and onto a public road.
Yeah, you don't want to do that. That's like Jimmy Johnson back in the day at Watkins Glen, turn 1, like just launched himself into the fence. Yeah, we don't want to do that. Plus, here in iRacing, you go through the fence, you're going to get dropped right back to pit road. So then you're really having a hard day.
Well, so the funny story, and there's a video of it up on YouTube, that a friend of mine, Tristan Herbert, who raced in Pirelli World Challenge and touring car, and then started running TA2 in Trans Am, was doing an early season test in his Trans Am Camaro, TA2 Camaro, and had a brake failure going into the new hairpin at turn 7, which is what we have here in iRacing. Couldn't slow down the car. There's still the escape route there, and there was actually an open fence, an open gate that you could go through, that they have maintenance vehicles go through. And he shut the car down, but he had no brakes, and he finally rolled to a stop in the parking lot of the 7 Hotel, which, when you go down into the hairpin, is off to your left. And it's pretty amazing, as he basically kicked open the fence, that gate with his car, and he rolled past like a police car. and came to a stop. I think they thought he was going to be checking in for a hotel room for the night.
Yeah, you can't park there with the illegal registration. The tow truck might be coming, so
coming in. Exactly.
Better be careful.
Just haul them on out. All right, so we saw that earlier fight for the lead in GT3 between Dam and Awada. Now it is the battle for 4th between Schwenke and Edwards. Bennett still just ahead in the Mercedes, Avery, and as long as Schwenke and Edwards are going to fight it out in some of the tightest sections of this track, that's something I'm sure Bennett is looking in his rearview mirror and going, oh, even if it means opening up a 4-car length gap back to these 2 Acuras, I'll take it.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing when you're in like the lead or second, or anybody you're battling behind you, and you see them going side by side through some corners. You're very thankful. You're like, okay, I can take a sip of water on the Almond Straight and kind of calm down a little bit, and then they get back going straight. So yeah, that was great. Great for Bennett to look back in that mirror and say, bye bye.
Yes, and so we did have the last time we checked in with that pair, we did have the Eagle Beaver Mustang of Alex Brown in that fight as well. He's now fallen a little bit off the pace. Brown now, I think, about 3.5 seconds back from Schwenke and Edwards.
Yeah, real good battle there all the way through the field, and they always put on effort. Look at Fredericks there, just sitting good, holding off a good, strong run at Ben Rose. One thing I want to point out, Greg, is 4 different manufacturers in the top 4. So it's good to see that's just not dominated by just one manufacturer.
Yeah, indeed. We've got, of course, we've got Jordan Butler in his Acura up at the front of the field. We've got Bailey Petrowski in the Invictus, formerly D2D Ferrari, and and seemingly whatever type of prototype car you put Bailey Petrowski in, he's fast because he's done. He raced the Porsche, he raced the BMW, now he's in the Ferrari. Dave Menino in the Cadillac, and then Dalton Fredericks, who we saw leading Ben Rose in the Porsche 963. Yeah, as you mentioned, top 4 all in different chassis. It's not until you get to Rose and Reisman, who are in the Acuras, running 5th and 6th.
Yeah, you get Piotrowski a Spec Racer Ford, he'll be hauling. So
I'll bet he will.
He's just one of them drivers that it's good at anything. I mean, if I could get a little bit of what he's got, that would be very, very helpful. And there's Ben Rose making a pass.
Yeah, and it looks like is that Rose, or I thought that was maybe Jim Pfeiffer.
Rose Pfeiffer, yeah.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, there you go. Ben Rose getting around Dalton Fredericks. Only took 5 laps, but he got it done. And so Ben Rose now up into 4th in GTP. Let's see how he did it. We talked about those different lines that you could take through the Sunset Bend, but that doesn't take into account when you come up on some GT3 traffic mid-corner, and Dalton Fredericks really, Avery, didn't have anywhere to go, whereas there was still quite a bit of room there for Ben Rose right around the outside, and was still able to carry speed through the corner to take the position.
Yeah, great move by Fredericks. So to take a look at the situation, go, okay, I should probably not run into the back of him and go to the right and race on and just be within a half second of Ben Rose. So good job by Fredericks to make the right move.
All right, well, we just talked to Avery about how Schwenke and Edwards were jockeying for position here actually just a lap ago going into turn 3. Well, now that things have calmed down, they've closed that gap down to Brian Bennett in the 71 Mercedes. And under braking, the NSX doesn't seem to have well, and again, I don't want to say that it's an issue with the chassis. It may just be the way Mike Dam was Travis Schwenke was approaching the corner, and that he wanted to carry a little bit more speed out through turn 3 rather than standing the car on its nose. But we did see Bennett go a lot deeper under that threshold braking into 3, and even here at the hairpin, maybe opens up a foot, 2 feet as he releases the brake pedal and gets back on the throttle.
Yeah, that's the one thing when you run these different manufacturers. One car might be better on the straights, one might be better in certain corners. So these drivers are trying to find where they're a little bit better at, and that's what happens with Bennett, Schwenke, and Edwards. They're all like just marginally different at each corner. So they're just trying to find a way to get around them. That's the goal, and we're getting close to the pit window, Greg. Still about we're still getting a little more time to go, but this is where we're going to get those fast laps, and because you're always running faster with the low fuel load. Jacobs might have a little issue there on that left front.
Yeah, it looks like a little bit of damage there. Let's take a look and see what happened to him, and then we'll take a little break. As we see him coming down under braking, going into turn 3, and And from the looks of it, I think Jenkins might have just lost it on his own there. I don't think he got the tap from behind. Yeah, and unfortunately caused an issue for the 2 prototypes directly behind. But yeah, you can see there's quite a bit of damage there on the nose of that Midfield Motorsports Mustang. Yeah. All right, so let's take a look and see, because I think Chase West. And you can see there's Chase West, who is following back behind there. The white, that is the Midfield Motorsports Mustang. Yeah, and you can see
nowhere to go.
Yeah, it was that was a pretty substantial hit. And oddly enough, it looked like the Midfield Motorsports car didn't get hit, as Caleb Lehman now pitting in from the lead in LMP2. That should push Josh Vidal up into the lead here with Chase West, possibly moving in the second. But let's do this as Vidal is finishing things out. You know what? Tell you what. Let's hold on, because I think now obviously we're seeing all the LMP2 cars come in. We've got Chinsky in. We've got, of course, Lehman there, and I think all these racers should be able to take tires as well. And we'll see as they start to head out.
Yeah, you see the 26 there of Vidal taking those 4 tires. So yeah, I think you're taking tires with fuel with how much, well, obviously fuel, but I think you're taking tires for how much of the fuel load they have to fill. The only time you really don't take tires is, oh my, that was wide. The only time you don't take tires is if it's, you know, if it takes longer to take tires than does fuel.
Yeah,
so
yeah, and I think it probably more of an issue for the GT3 racers, but given how long, given that their pit window is so short, like a lap to 2 laps for this race, most of them will have, since they've got to take a full tank of fuel, should have time to take on all 4 tires. Let's take a quick look here at Chase West as he came back out. And it seemed, I think Chase had a bit of a moment and an issue there. Yeah, going through Big Ben as he ran wide, and there must be something else wrong, maybe from that hit a little bit earlier as he just went and took the toe. All right, Avery, let's do this. We're a little bit past the top of the hour. Let's take a quick break. We'll thank some of our partners and sponsors, and when we come back, we'll take you all the way to the checkered flag here at Sebring International Raceway, where you're watching season number 12, round number 1 of the Extreme Motorsports Ricmotech World Challenge. We'll be right back.
Ricmotech, high-performance sim racing equipment. Whether you're just looking to have fun, train for race day, or become a serious esports competitor, Ricmotech has you covered. Hundreds of name brand parts. Support from experts that love sim racing. Trusted by the pros. There's only one place to go, Ricmotech.com.
The SCCA Foundation is a 501c3 organization serving as the charitable arm of the Sports Car Club of America. One of the programs partially funded by the foundation is the SCCA Academy, an online learning management system used to keep real-life racing track officials up to date on the highest standards of race safety and officiating. Through this program, the SCCA Foundation is supporting the future of the best trained corner workers and event officials in motorsport. You can support these efforts at www.sccafoundation.org. The search is over. The most comprehensive league scoring solution is here, with the ability for multi-level championships, custom incident tracking, post-race time penalties, support for heats, drop weeks display, multi-car team scoring, advanced web widgets, rookie championships, a custom paint system, and load those results in seconds. Visit extremescoring.info today.
Ricmotech, high-performance sim racing equipment. There's only one place to go, Ricmotech.com.
And we are back here at Sebring International Raceway. It's round number 1, season number 12 of the Extreme Motorsports Ricmotech World Challenge. And Avery, perfect timing to come back, because we've got coming in and down the pit lane now, our leader, Jordan Butler, and his DNA Acura. We've got Bailey Petrowski coming down the pit lane. We've got Ben Rose coming down the pit lane as well. And those are our top 3 racers in GTP, as a number of our GT3 racers starting to work their way through as well. And here come Tanner Dibble in the 963 Porsche, and your man on the screen there, Ryan Reisman, in the 414 Acura. And you can see there's, you can see what his hands were doing, but he was certainly getting ready to put down how much fuel he needed pumped into the car and how many tires he was going to take on. It's the first time I think I've ever seen Ryan blink too.
Yeah, it's one of his features. He doesn't blink. I mean, like, it's like when you see him blink, go, oh, he is capable of blinking. But
all right, on the GT3 side, Brian Bennett and Alex Brown have come down the pit lane. Milan Harris now in the pits, along with Ilya Speaker, and our pre-race interview earlier tonight, Chris Thorman coming down the pit lane as well. There is, you know, I'm so lost now as Thorman and the Ferraris for formerly D2D Sim Racing, now Invictus. They are all in orange, and I'm so used to the gray. The gray that those machines have been running.
Yeah, it looks like everyone's coming down pit road, and this is a spot, you know, you can actually gain and lose a lot of time on pit road and how you enter pit road. You got to, as long as you get down the speed limit, you're good. But I've seen drivers where they just kind of go in a little scared, and they don't want to speed, and they lose 2 or 3 seconds. So
they lose 2 or 3 seconds that way, or they end up skipping through their pit stall by about a foot or two. They got to throw the car into reverse and then back it on up.
Or like me, end up in the fence.
All right, we're on board right now with our leader in GT3, yet to take a pit stop. That is Akira Iwata. He's got Mike Dam, as he's been almost the entire race, just a couple car lengths back. And I would expect to see them come in either this time or the next time by. Let's see here. And indeed, there you go. The 53 of Iwata comes in. Mike Dam comes down the pit lane as well. We're seeing there Tom Jenkins in that severely damaged Midfield Motorsports Mustang heading back out on track, and he'll rejoin somewhere around 24th, I believe, in GT3. And that now likely, we'll see here as we're on board now with Taj Edwards, who has not pitted in yet from Orion, so he is your new leader at the moment.
Yeah, Edwards putting on a really good run. You know, I always like staying out to lead a lap, get that bonus point, and because here in this GT3 racing, it's not going to make as much of a difference because you're taking the same amount of fuel,
right.
Just pin a lap later. So I like to call something. You know, you're always faster usually on that low fuel load. So good move, get that bonus point and see where he come out when he comes in the pits.
Yeah, and so all 3 of the Orion racers there getting a bonus point now for leading a lap. We had Mike Dam, also Iwata earlier on leading, and then also now Taj Edwards. And yeah, we should see Edwards come in fairly soon. Interestingly enough, there were a couple of races last season, Avery, where Edwards was, and again, this was in a different chassis. This was driving the Corvette last season. All the, as we have another one of our Acuras go around, that is John Kroom in the number 45 Rockefeller Racing Acura. He went around over by Jean de Bien. Let's take a look and see if he got any help. He got some help from the curbing.
Yeah, the curbing is not nice sometimes.
Yeah, and just popped right over the top in these cars. They are so stiffly sprung and so low to the ground, lifted it right back up, but no real damage to that car, and he is able to continue. And here's something a little, I don't want to say surprising, because honestly it's not surprising, but Bobby Childs, driver the number 88, now Ferrari Invictus machine, he's been sitting in the pit stall for about we're coming up on almost 2 minutes that he is now that he has been on that pit stall. Also, Taj Edwards now on the pit lane, so he did run a lap longer than his teammates, and he's got about Edwards has got about 30 seconds right now on Iwata. They're coming through Sunset at the moment. Let's see when Edwards leaves his pit stall, and he's now out of the pit stall, coming down the pit lane. I don't think it's going to allow him to leapfrog his two teammates, and there they go driving by. But Taj Edwards now with still about 8 seconds on Travis Schwenke should slot in the third position.
Yeah, the pit times were, Edwards was quicker, but just it's one of those things, man. Like if you go on that in lap and you just struggle to get on a good fast time, and then on the out lap you got those cold tires, you gotta be super careful so you don't you don't spin out or just overshoot a corner because you're used to the warm tires.
Yeah, indeed. And, that is definitely something that he is going to have to work on, although he's got a pretty good gap back to his teammate Travis Schwenke. But both Edwards and Schwenke have leapfrogged Brian Bennett on that pit window. So moved Bennett now back into 5th position. And it was a question here when we look at the times on the pit lane. Brian Bennett on the pit lane for 28 seconds. Schwenke for 26, and Edwards for only 24 seconds. And so, that's the difference there, moving Bennett in that Mercedes back a little bit further.
Yeah, you want to take enough fuel to when you cross that line, you're as empty as you can be, but you got to be careful. You always got to, I always put an extra like 1.2 laps in because you never know if you're getting an extra lap, but
right.
You can lose so much time on pit road if you take a couple extra gallons. And you see it happen every single race because somebody might make a mistake or doesn't trust the auto fuel or something. You got to be very cautious on when you take that pit stopping and how much fuel you're going to take. So that might have been the difference, or just a little bit faster.
All right, we're on board right now. Well, we were on board momentarily. We're watching now Caleb Lehman. Lehman driving the number 819 machine. That is the SRT eSport entry, and he is leading the class here with Josh Vidal second, Avon Dorsey in third, and I think probably the biggest surprise because he's had to take 2 runs down the pit lane here. Josh Chinsky in that number 18 car, much further back in the field.
Yeah, Chinsky and might have been Bailey or so. Oh, Chinsky gets. Oh, wow.
Yeah, there you go. As Chinsky was working his way through traffic, and I think he had, from the looks of it, I think he had Avon Dorsey ahead of him. Contact there as he goes off into the grass on the outside of turn 16, and now goes to recover again. Josh Chinsky, our LMP2 champion last season. For season number 11 in that Dallara P217.
It looks like he was given a warning for the avoidable contact, so he's got to keep an eye on that the rest of the race. But how about Chinsky up to 4th place from starting in the pits? And
that's right. Yeah, I didn't even think about that. That it's not like he fell out of 1st place or anything. He started, tail end Charlie from the pit lane for this race, and so he's made his way through 30 plus GT3 entries, and now is sitting mid-pack in LMP2.
Yeah, so that makes it even more difficult starting from the pits. Like you said, you got all that GT3 traffic, so you're losing so much time. Just for him to get up to 4th place is super impressive, and he can get up to 2nd. Just has to keep clicking off good laps and try not to make contact in the Le Mans curve.
All right, a little bit further back in the field, watching now. This is the battle for 11th. Stacy Bertrand in her number 52. Rockefeller Racing Ford Mustang. Jennifer McDonald in the BTL Motorsports number 99 Chevrolet Corvette. I'm so used to seeing Jennifer racing in a BMW. Big change there, although that BTL livery moves over to a Corvette awfully well.
Oh, yeah. So, People with the last name McDonald always run good liveries, so just, that's one thing I've always learned from for the last couple of seasons.
Boo.
Everyone with McDonald and the last names have great liveries. Ironically, I run a lot of McDonald's paint schemes. I just tell people it's a family business. It's not, but it works.
All right, new paint scheme for Lucas Dragota and Rennsport Racing in the McLaren. That's the number 119 car going side by side with Jeff Jacobs down into turn number 1. And as we've got a couple of our prototypes here trying to split the difference here up at the front of the field.
This car looks awesome.
With the American flag on the roof.
Oh yeah.
But that McLaren, I'll tell you, it's a very, very pretty car, and and certainly not doesn't have the challenges that the older McLaren that we used to see a couple of years ago, GT3, where it was very, very tail happy, and maybe also would also run out of gearing on long straightaways. It looks like a much better suited machine. And and to be honest, Avery, I'm very surprised that although I think it says a lot that so many racers are taking it, I'm a little surprised to see the NSX GT3 Evo doing so well right out of the box, as it just got added to the iRacing platform about a month ago.
Yeah.
And seems to be a very good all-around car. Certainly doing a lot better here at iRacing than I think the old NSX GT3 car did in real life, because that car was a bit of a dog.
Yes, it was. I'll give a big shout out to Jeff Jacobs, though, because he drives the LMP3 and then the GT3. You can't get two more different cars. So
no, certainly not.
Good job for him.
Yeah, we saw Jeff for the very first time in the Mini Mite Sports Car Challenge, racing in the LMP3 Ligier. And by the way, Avery, I will let everybody know, we've got a little bit of time here, what we have coming up on the docket here for our upcoming Ricmotech Extreme Motorsports Series next week. That's January 20th, next Monday night. The Mini Mite Sports Car Challenge is going to be heading to Virginia International Raceway for a 60-minute race, and the organizers want to say sorry, Notre Dame and Ohio State fans, but yeah, we are going to be racing on Monday night. That is for our GT4 and LMP3 racers, and then the Ricmotech World Challenge round number 2 in 2 weeks, January 27th at Watkins Glen International, where we raced with this series 2 weeks ago. And then the Mini Mite Sports Car Challenge round number 3 is going to be at Canadian Tire Motorsports Park, Mosport, for the first outing where we have dual 35-minute sprint races. That is Monday night, February 3rd.
Yeah, thankfully YouTube's got a built-in DVR, so I can watch the race anytime I want. So I'll definitely be tuning in and hearing Larry and you on the call, and obviously Jonathan on the controls is a master job. So yeah, make sure you tune in next week, because that series is fun to watch.
That's right. And then we've got Jordy Fike in the chat reminding everybody, and let me not forget, that late spring, and I think it's actually end of April, we're going to see the return of the Ricmotech Touring Car Cup for our Mazda MX-5s and GR86 Cup cars. So don't want to miss that. And to get information about our 3 different series, as well as a number of different Roundy Round series, you can go to xmsracing.com.
Yeah, they got so much stuff you can race in, and all of them are really ran well. And especially, I mean, how many series, Greg, are running with almost 60 cars in an opening night on a Monday night? That's just how testament to everybody that races in the series and who does the work to it.
Yeah, I mean, this series was all booked up and filled up, I think, within like an hour of registration opening back before Christmas, back in December. And again, we've got a number of new rookies racing here, and as I go through, we've got 3 rookies in LMP2 this season. We've got Chase West, who I believe came to us, put in a little bit of time last season, as well as Chris Hampton, both racing for Lead Paw Racing. So welcome, gentle people. And then we talked about Trevor Anderson from HSR Phantom Racing in the GT3 ranks. We've got the racers from Orion. We've got Akira Iwata, of course. We talked about some of the new Dragon Sport racers like Ben Patton and John Kroom. Actually, John Kroom is racing for Rockefeller Racing here. And we also have, we've seen Chad, we had Chad Sebring, who's raced with us in the Mini Mite Sports Car Challenge. He is racing with us here for the Close Enough crew in one of the few Porsche 911s that we have out in the GT3 field. Chuck Labano joining us, I think, after some time away here for Frito Sport Racing. So welcome back here, Chuck. We talked about Filippo Barberi in the Speed Lab Dream to Inspire McLaren, and a couple other folks as well. So, and you know, I haven't listed as rookies, but we've got folks like Tom Jenkins, like John Sterling, who have raced in some of our other Extreme Motorsports races. Dalton Fredericks here pulling over by turn number 1. And that might, I think, probably is the after effects of just absolutely clouding the wall a little bit earlier.
Yeah, as Jordy Fike says, that one's going to leave a mark. That's for sure.
Oh yeah.
But good battle here for 13th, 14th, and 15th. Jacob Stragata. All these drivers doing a really good job just trying to limit those mistakes and try to make up as many passes as you can. And speaking of making up passes, Chinsky's all the way up to 3rd.
Yeah, I was gonna say he's now gotten around a couple of other racers. He's gotten around Anderson and Jones as well. I think we just had him in there a moment ago in that last shot. Filippo Barberi just back from Lucas Dragota and Jeff Jacobs as well in his number 119 McLaren. So good to see that. Probably 186 McLaren. That's the purple car. As we go on board now, here's the Chinsky machine in that black SRT entry, and just got passed by one of our GTP racers, as you would expect. But Chinsky already opening up about 10, I'd call it maybe 15 car lengths on Trevor Anderson in the 98 car, who we're just now seeing come underneath the pedestrian bridge there over by Big Bend. Actually, called a pedestrian bridge. That's a bridge you can drive a car over, actually.
Well, it could double as a pedestrian bridge.
If you want to get hit.
If you want to get hit, it can double as a pedestrian bridge. Speaking of this track, every time I go to Daytona, they always go, hey, you should always go to Sebring, and the weekend never works out for me. But it's such a beautiful facility, always hosts a great race, and it's hosting a great race right now. So, I mean, it's such a cool place. It really tests the driver and the car.
Yeah, without a doubt. And I had a chance just in a street car to do a couple of reconnaissance laps this weekend, and I'll tell you, it is a track that will challenge almost anything. The car that I had, nice cheap rental car with a twist beam, or twist, like the old Volkswagen Golfs, twist beam rear axle, came through Sunset and had the rear end of that SUV pop up in the air by about, I don't know, probably around 5 inches. It was somewhat disconcerting as all of the camera equipment that I had in the back went flying through the air.
Oops.
Yeah.
That's how it is with us when we're going to cover a game or something. We got the van full of camera gear, and you go, well, we probably shouldn't have hit that bump so hard.
Definitely. All right, we're on board right now. This is John Kroom in the Rockefeller Racing Acura, currently running. You can see the number on the side of the door. Currently running 20th in GT3. That is down, I believe that's down 5 positions from where he started. Let's take a look here now. Here is Josh Chinsky coming up on Josh Vidal, the 18 on the 26. almost get together going into the hairpin there, and we saw Chinsky have to push a little bit wide to keep from getting into the back of the 26 machine, as they are now trying to work their way around one of the Corvettes.
Yeah, something's wrong with Chinsky, I think.
Yeah, I think you're right. That was Trevor Anderson, who Chinsky had passed just a couple laps ago, just got repassed. And here's a big surprise. Caleb Lehman, and remember, Lehman was the very first driver to come down the pit lane and take fuel and tires here mid-race. Caleb Lehman came down for his second pit stop, a very short pit stop, Avery, and I think he had the feeling, as we now have just about 15 minutes remaining in this 75-minute round one race, that maybe he didn't have enough fuel to make it to the end.
Yeah, I thought it seemed a little early when he was going in, but nice thing for him, he comes out of the pits. Oh wow, there's a big one. Oh, Bobby.
Bobby Childs, who spent quite some time in the pits himself earlier, and came back out much further down in the field. Now likely going to be heading back to the pit lane again. Bobby came out 40th position overall, and the rear end just got very light on him coming through Sunset.
Honestly, a little light touch from all the smoke. I thought it was going to be a little more junk, but he's still going. So good to see Bobby still on the track. But yeah, speaking of it, Lehman had that, probably came in a little early, but luckily he had a big cushion.
Yeah,
so,
and he still does almost close to 30 seconds over Vidal. And so here we go as we take a look. There you have the 26, then right there at the lead of the shot. Then you've got Trevor Anderson, who got back around Josh Chinsky. Chinsky, the third car in the line. That is the battle right now for second in LMP2. Again, as our leader, Caleb Lehman, even after taking a second pit stop, still has almost a half-minute margin and half-minute buffer on the rest of this LMP3 field. And look at this, coming and joining the party. Is that Avon Dorsey in the number 7 Delara? I think it may be. No, it's not. I'm sorry. That is, that's Avon Dorsey. All right, as we jump back over to GT3, Avery Awada still leads this race, but he's got Mike Dam, who made up. Remember, Awada came out with almost 2 seconds in hand over Mike Dam when they finished the pit cycle. Mike Dam now has pulled back within just about 0.3 of a second at most, typically right off the gearbox of that Acura NSX, as they come down the Ullman Straight, working lap number 31. And again, for our GT3 cars, we think this race probably going to run somewhere around 38 laps.
Yeah, it's 0.3 faster lap before. We'll see what they come this time. Dam was quicker, and Dam was quicker. They were the same pretty much. So yeah, once you got to that bumper, but yeah, just a little bit quicker that one lap, and it's really good run there back up to Vidal and Anderson.
Yeah, I think it was something like 0.04 of a second difference between the two Acura drivers. All right, let's jump back. As you said, Josh Vidal, Trevor Anderson, and Chinsky. And Chinsky's closed right back up onto the 26, so probably onto the 98. And, and I'm wondering, Avery, if he just had a, not a brain fart, but, it didn't seem like it was a mechanical issue, although perhaps Chinsky is starting to worry that he might not be able to make it to the end if he keeps it going full send, and maybe he is just using the draft a little bit more now.
Yeah, Chinsky just maybe taking a breather right now, and we got 10 minutes to go, and maybe try to pick off Anderson if he has a good chance. But like you said, can't always full send it all the time. But man, what a good pass there. They got lucky on that GT3.
And Jordy Fike asking in the chat if the top 4 GT3 are all Orion, and yes, they are. All 4 of our top GT3 racers are racing Orion Acura NSX machines. Brian Bennett, the first non-Acura, he is running 5th in the Sector 5 Racing number 71 Mercedes, with Alex Brown running in 6th.
Yeah, those Orion cars are always fast, and you never know which one's going to be the fastest, but they're always up in that top spot, and we're just running that top 5, so they're a really good job to them. They really got Sebring down.
Yeah, indeed. You know, we had Leo Dragota with that early contact that we saw coming down the front straight, so he's fallen much further back in the field, but obviously the majority of that team there, and you know, and I think especially when you consider this is round number 1, and for the most part, season after season, we see the Orion team move to different chassis. Last season was in the Corvette. We've seen them in the Porsches. We've seen them in the Audi R8s previously, and you know, it takes a lot of work to get a setup where you can come out with what is essentially a brand new car to the platform and be able to dominate like this. And you know, most of the other Acuras, they're much further back in the field. I think it's not until you get to Milan Harris, who's currently running in 8th position, until you get to your next Acura, and from there it's Dan Carrillo. Although Carrillo had his issue with contact earlier, he's in 18th.
Nice pass by Chinsky over to Vidal there. Just had an opportunity, got into the sunset and just made the pass, and we'll see how much he's going to have to defend here.
Yeah, well, and interesting there is Vidal now is sitting back in 4th position, because we have Anderson still ahead of Josh Chinsky, and so that is the new battle for 2nd place.
Yeah, Chinsky showing a lot of pace the last couple laps. Yeah, just was 2 seconds faster that last lap over Anderson, so a lot of pace there for Chinsky.
All right, well, we'll see, because right now both Chinsky and Vidal, they've got to get past this GT3 McLaren and start to move up the road, because Anderson now has opened up about 1.5 seconds on Chinsky and Vidal, but he's starting to come up on a little bit of traffic as well here as they come out of the tower turn and onto the Flying Fortress straight, as we're now working lap number 36. We have, as you look there at the top of the timing tower, we've got just a touch under 7 minutes remaining in round number 1, a 75-minute race to the checkered flag here at Sebring.
Yeah, really good race so far. Like I said, coming down the end, and you know, you can't make a mistake now. And take a look at this good battle with Anderson. Just has Chinsky breathing down his neck almost, so he knows he can't make a mistake.
Yeah, there you go. Is Chinsky now starting to close things down, now within just about a little bit less than 0.6 of a second, as he's working to use the draft a little bit.
Yeah, Vidal's in pit lane. Take a look back at the tape.
You know, let's see here, as he had some issues going into the Sunset Bend, coming up on the Rockefeller Racing Corvette, and Vidal, I think, in trying to avoid that GT3 car, had a brake lock up at the rear. Let's take a look at the overhead shot and see exactly how this unfolded. I don't think there was any well, yeah, there was contact.
Oh, there was. Oh, boy.
And Vidal goes to the wall. So that now we'll see as Vidal now comes to the pits, and Vidal had a nice buffer on Avon Dorsey. Dorsey still sitting, as you see there on the ticker. Just now goes past Vidal on the front straight.
Look at that smile by Ryan. He saw the little notifications say, hey, they could see my face, and he was like, had a nice smile. And he blinked at the same time. So
no.
it's good to see him smile.
The whole facade has been lifted. Ryan Reisman actually blinks.
Oh yeah, look at it. He's having a good time.
All right, he and Tanner Dibble in the 963 Porsche.
Yeah.
Oh, we've got no. I think that's Dibble in the Porsche with Reisman in the Acura just ahead.
Yeah, these cars they look so similar. It's easy to get them confused. But man, good run by Reisman.
Here we go. Look at this. Chinsky now right on the back of Anderson, and he's through. He's gotten around Trevor Anderson as they come into turn one. Let's take a look and see how it happened here as Trevor Anderson leading Chinsky into the sunset bend. Chinsky taking a dive down to the inside, gets to the apex, and as he moves over, we see Anderson. Anderson didn't even attempt the over-under. He just tucked in right back behind Josh Chinsky and considered the move done. And so Josh Chinsky, after starting at the back of about a 55 car field, a little bit more than 55 cars, now moves up into second in LMP2. Still a long way to go. Caleb Lehman, I think, still with just a couple minutes left to go, just has to put his head down and run a steady about another 5 laps or so, four laps or so to hold off, as he's got about a 30-second margin.
Yeah, good margin there for Lehman. Hopefully he doesn't come down pit lane again and short himself on fuel.
Yeah, exactly.
So
you can only do that so many times.
Yeah. You run out of luck at some point.
Well, and there we go. This is the battle between teammates Reisman and Dibble for 5th in GTP. And Dibble had a bit of a scare there for a moment as one of the Rockefeller cars was about ready to come across his nose. Look at that. That's the best shot we've had of the paint scheme yet, where you can see the parrot on the reeds there down in the Swampso, Florida.
Yeah, nice looking car. Just, playing, they're just playing their part, Florida, so.
Got the gators, got the butterflies, you name it.
Yeah, Reisman's literally from the complete opposite side of the country from Florida, so it's it's good to live vicariously through the race and when you go to the track and have a car that looks similar to where you're at. But look at that GT3 dam is starting to slow down a little bit. It's 0.8 of a second gap.
So wonder if perhaps Mike Dam might be worried a little bit about fuel, or perhaps he's just ensuring if he leaves a little bit of space between he and Iwata, it's maybe a little bit easier for the GTP and LMP2 cars to make it through and past them, as we've now got just only a minute and a half remaining here in the race. Jordy Fike in the chat saying, what? A brand new car on the platform that would be unreasonably fast? How could that ever happen?
Yeah, that won't get me to get a new track, because you give me the fastest car, we're still struggling. So, but yeah, it's just, and that Orion team's tough. You put them in almost probably any car, they're going to be competitive. So, you can say a little bit the Acura, but you put them in almost any manufacturer, they're going to be fast.
Yeah, I mean, look, they were quick, as I mentioned a couple seasons ago, as they were running the Audi R8s, which were pretty much known to be not necessarily dogs, but underdogs in the field, and they ran them pretty darn hard and got a couple wins that season. All right, white flag is in the air as Jordan Butler in the DNA Motorsports number 72 Acura is working his last lap. He has 9 seconds on Bailey Petrowski here with now only about 3 and maybe 3 1/4 miles remaining. He's got to be diligent though. here, Avery, is he's still got a lot of this GT3 traffic to work through as we jump a little bit further back, and a couple of his DNA Motorsports teammates still fighting it out here for position. Ryan Riesemann in 5th, Tanner Dibble in 6th.
Oh, itches the eye a little bit, but didn't blink. Didn't blink.
Well, he had the glasses there, so didn't even make it to the eye.
No.
All right, as they are now working last lap. Jordan Butler, by the way, Avery, resetting fast lap, and that last time by, almost 3 full seconds faster than Bailey Petrowski's. I think Petrowski definitely now in maintenance mode and just wants to be able to have enough fuel to get back to the checkered flag. As we're on board with Jordan Butler, comes into the Sunset Bend for the very last time tonight. 75 minutes after he takes the green flag, he takes the checker, and Jordan Butler wins round number 1 of the Extreme Motorsports Ricmotech World Challenge here at Sebring International Raceway. Coming in second is Bailey Petrowski from Invictus, and coming home in third, Dave Menino in the number 103 machine, the driver of that 103 car is your third place finisher. In LMP2, Caleb Lehman hasn't crossed the line yet, but we're watching this fight right now. A little bit further back in the field, Tanner Dibble and Ryan Riesemann, as they now they're still fighting it out all the way down the Ullman Straight, and it is Ryan Riesemann in the Acura going around the outside, Tanner Dibble in the Porsche to the inside, and as they come out almost in a dead heat, having the splits, Jeff Jacobs, and coming to the line, Tanner Dibble beats out Ryan Riesemann, taking the win in LMP2. We can see now as all the cars behind have already crossed and taken the checkered flag. Caleb Lehman is your winner in LMP2. Josh Chinsky will finish in second. Then we've got Trevor Anderson. He will finish third. Avon Dorsey, and then Jones and West. What a great fight there, though, in GTP there for 4th and 5th. And in GT3, here they come down the Ullman Straight. This is going to decide it. Who is going to be your winner? Is it going to be Akira Iwata, or is it going to be Mike Dam? And Iwata, in his very first race in the Extreme Motorsports Ricmotech World Challenge for Orion Racing, will take the win here in GT3. Mike Dam will finish second. Taj Edwards will finish in third. So we've got an Orion Racing sweep on the podium. Travis Schwenke will finish 4th, and Brian Bennett will finish in 5th.
Wow, what a battle we've seen here tonight, Greg. You see, Butler put on a really good, pretty much put on a clinic, but had good battles through the prototypes. Same with the LMP2. You saw Lehman out in front, even made an extra pit stop. But drivers like Chinsky, Anderson, Dorsey battled hard, and same with Vidal. And then the GT3s, I mean, it was a battle all the way throughout. And what was really neat is you see Riesemann try to pull up the Riesemann slide on that final lap, but just barely got beat by his teammate Dibble. So what a great race we had to open up the season.
Yeah, spectacular way to open up season number 12 of the Extreme Motorsports Ricmotech World Challenge. And as our podium finishers are lining up there on the front straight for their photo, Avery, let's take a quick little break. We'll thank some of our partners and sponsors, and when we come back, we'll talk to some of our race winners here from Sebring International Raceway, where you have just seen race number 1 of the Extreme Motorsports Ricmotech World Challenge, presented by Butt Kicker and the SCCA Foundation. We'll be right back.
The SCCA Foundation is a 501c3 organization serving as the charitable arm of the Sports Car Club of America. One of the programs partially funded by the foundation is the SCCA Academy, an online learning management system used to keep real-life racing track officials up to date on the highest standards of race safety and officiating. Through this program, the SCCA Foundation is supporting the future of the best-trained corner workers and event officials in motorsport. You can support these efforts at www.sccafoundation.org.
Ricmotech high-performance sim racing equipment. Whether you're just looking to have fun, train for race day, or become a serious esports competitor, Ricmotech has you covered. Hundreds of name brand parts. Support from experts that love sim racing. Trusted by the pros. There's only one place to go, Ricmotech.com.
The search is over. The most comprehensive league scoring solution is here, with the ability for multi-level championships, custom incident tracking, post-race time penalties, support for heats, drop weeks display, multi-car team scoring, advanced web widgets, rookie championships, a custom paint system, and load those results in seconds. Visit extremescoring.info today.
Ricmotech high-performance sim racing equipment. Hundreds of name brand parts. Expert support. Ricmotech has you covered. There's only one place to go, Ricmotech.com.
Welcome back, everybody, to Sebring International Raceway, where you have just seen the Extreme Motorsports Ricmotech World Challenges round number 1 of season 12, and what a round it was. Let's take a look at the final finishing order. Once again, in GTP, Jordan Butler from DNA Motorsports takes the win, with Bailey Petrowski, our season 10 GTP champion, back and racing for what used to be known as DNA Motorsports, now Invictus. Tamaria Corsa, and he finishes second. Dave Minetto from SRT Esport will finish in third, with Ben Rose just off the podium in fourth. In LMP2, it's SRT Esport at the top of the podium with Caleb Lehman and Josh Chinsky, and then we had Trevor Anderson coming across the line for HSR Phantom Racing, another rookie this year. Great rookie outing for him, although he's been on the iRacing platform for about 7 or 8 years. And in GT3, Akira Iwata from Orion takes the win in his Acura NSX. Teammate Mike Dam will finish second, and rounding out the Orion lockout of the podium, Taj Edwards, finishing just off the podium, would be another Orion racer, and that's Travis Schwenke. All right, let's take a look. And Avery, we have sitting in the green room right now our GT3 winner from Orion Racing, Akira Iwata.
Welcome Akira Iwata into the broadcast booth, coming off Greg, you can't have much better of a debut in XMS, so to win the race. Akira, how was the race for you?
Yeah, it was. It's been a really pleasure to be here. To win the race. To be honest, I didn't expect to have such a great weekend like this. Yeah, I prepared as much as I can, so it was great.
So how long have you been racing with Mike Dam and the Orion team? Did you just join recently?
No, it's actually 2 or 3 years ago.
Oh, wow.
Since I joined the Orion race team, I raced with them in the Ibro series, maybe. Mm-hmm. Yeah, a couple of times. So that kind of experience helped me a lot in today, I think.
Well, we're very happy to have you here in the series and racing with us, and obviously the car control. You and Mike had some great little battles here through tonight's race. Very, very clean racing, and obviously the last thing you want to have happen is to have an accident with your own teammate.
Yeah, exactly.
So you guys had a wonderful race. Has it been difficult for you? And I'm sorry, Avery. Has it been difficult for you with this new platform, this Acura platform, to be able to develop it and get it so that it is as quick as it is now?
Well, I don't think it changed significantly before iRacing launched the Acura NSX. So it was kind of similar type with other car like McLaren or Ferrari or other stuff, other kind of cars. So I'm usually, at least I think I know how to drive GT3. So yeah, it's been not too difficult for me.
Avery, do you have any questions for Akira before we move on to our next drivers?
No, just a congrats on the win. Very impressive for your debut. And it's always Orion's a great team, and I'm sure they're real glad to have you here in the series. But is there anybody you'd like to give a thank you to?
Yeah, I want to say that thanks for the support to be in this series, and also having me in the team. It's been a really great time running here and also in other series. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to the future race or further on this race as well.
Awesome. Congrats again. We'll see you in a couple weeks.
Yep. Thank you very much.
All right, everybody. That was Akira Iwata from Orion Race Team. His initial outing, his first outing in the Ricmotech World Challenge, and he is a race winner. All right, let's move over now and bring in our winner tonight in LMP2, driving for SRT Esport. I got rid of myself there. It's Caleb Lehman. Let's bring him on in.
Hey, Caleb, congrats on that win there and the season opener. How was that race for you? Because it looked like you made an extra pit stop.
It was good. Unfortunately, Josh, my teammate, he did not load his race set, so he was going to be, I think, my most close competition. He ended up fuel saving a ton, and I just kind of went full bore and had to pit one more time just to make sure I made it to the end.
Yeah, just put on a good effort, and you had a nice buffer. So when you came in for that second time to top it off on fuel, you had a 30-second gap. So I mean, it's I like the way you went for it. You just went all out, tried to run the fastest lap. But I can't think of a better way to open up the season and try to maybe get a different champion for the LMP2 season.
Yeah, I'm hoping to take the fight to Josh. He's had my number the last season. His pace has been unreal. So I got lucky with his mistake tonight, but hoping to fight it out for the season.
Yeah, we ran at a strong track at Sebring, completely different where we go to the Glen in a couple of weeks. What are your thoughts on that, on going to there?
The Glen is, I'll be honest, not my strongest track. I know I've struggled there in the past, so I'm going to have to put in a lot of practice to make sure that I'm on my A game.
Yeah, absolutely. Before we let you go, is anybody like to give a shout out to?
Shout out to my team, SRT. We push each other week in, week out. I've been able to improve so much racing with these guys, and I love them. And also shout out to my wife. She's super supportive of me, and just happy to have a win.
Awesome. Congrats, Caleb, on the win. We're looking forward to seeing you in a couple weeks at the Glen.
Thanks, guys. Have a good night.
All right, there you go. Caleb Lehman, driver of the number 819 Dallara LMP2 machine. And so now, Avery, let's bring in our overall winner from tonight's race, driving the number 72 DNA Motorsports Acura ARX-06, your GTP winner, Jordan Butler.
Hey, Jordan, it's Avery up in the Apex booth. Congrats on an amazing round one. We were talking with the other class winners, a great way to start the season. But, coming in to this season, Bailey's back in the prototype, so another really good driver. How's it feel to get the win here tonight?
Oh, it feels awesome. Actually, a little bit unexpected. Sebring's not my best track, and I put some good practice in, and I felt really consistent. And yeah, I'm surprised I was able to hold off Bailey there.
Yeah, Bailey started to make the gap a little bit smaller, and then you just kind of expanded that gap to 8 seconds at the end, and it was a really good showing from the DNA group. We've seen Ricmotech try to pull the Ricmotech slide to get by Dibble. Man, it was just a great showing by your team. So can you just tell us on how that being a good team makes it better for everybody else?
Yeah, totally. We raced together when this is the official race last week. So we're able to kind of talk about strategy, talk about how the car feels, and we race the track a lot. So we definitely have kind of know the nuances of the track, and we talk to each other about that too. So having fast teammates really helps kind of push you too.
Oh, absolutely. Just kind of makes you feel a little bit better. And we go to another track in the U.S. We go to the Glen in a couple weeks. So you're going to give you guys a couple weeks time. I know you got the iRacing 24 coming up this weekend, but you still have some time to get the car dialed in for how you feel about the Glen.
Oh, I love Watkins Glen. I haven't had the best luck there, but it's always a blast to drive.
Well, it's a new day in 2 weeks, so we don't have to worry about what happened before. But anybody like to give a shout out to?
Oh yeah, like I said, my teammates are awesome. They help me out a ton. My girlfriend, I love her. She's awesome. And just everyone back home watching. This is an awesome series you guys put on, so I really appreciate you guys too.
Oh, it's all about the talent on the track. They're the ones that make the show. We're lucky to talk about it. So, Jordan, congrats on winning the first round of the Ricmotech World Challenge, and we're looking forward to see how you do the rest of the season.
Yeah, thank you very much. I hope to put a championship challenge on now.
All right, there you go, everybody. That was Jordan Butler. Congratulations to him. And you heard it right out of the horse's mouth, or out of the butler's mouth, that he wants to mount a championship challenge. And Ben Rose, Bailey Petrowski, look out. Jordan is here for you tonight. All right, so oh my gosh, Avery, that's who you are. Who am I now? Let's quickly once again take a look at what we've got coming up here in the next couple of weeks in our different Ricmotech series. Of course, we've got, as you mentioned, the Mini-Mite Sports Car Challenge. That is for our LMP3 and GT4 racers. It's going to be at Virginia International Raceway next Monday night, 8:10 p.m. Eastern Time. And then in 2 weeks, rejoin our GTP, LMP2, and GT3 racers at Watkins Glen International as they try to navigate the blue bushes there for 75 minutes. And then in 3 weeks, the Mini-Mite Sports Car Challenge heads north of the border to Canadian Tire Motorsports Park, Mosport, for twin 35-minute sprint races. All right, so for Avery McDonald, filling in for Larry Lefty McLeod, I'm Greg Ginsburg. Thanks again, as always, to Jonathan Grabowski, and we'll see you next week here on Apex Racing TV. Thanks so much.
Ricmotech, high-performance sim racing equipment. There's only one place to go, ricmotech.com.